welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren, and today we are going to take you along on a ride to go pick up a custom piece of furniture. It's actually a 4-piece set of furniture that we are going to bring back here to the shop and get some work on it done. Got our blankets and our plastic wrap, and we're ready to get it loaded. So this lead for this set actually came from a 4-piece set that I listed on Facebook Marketplace, back probably 4 or 5 months ago. And I recently had the couple come in and they had photos, and we got basically a whole entire design plan for them. But we had a pretty packed last few months, so I'm just now being able to come and get the furniture so that they can have a brand new set of furniture, which is, I think it's Thomasville if I remember correctly. So really great quality stuff, but you know, just a little bit outdated. And so I'm excited to give it some new life for this couple. Cool, so I see, matching that, right? The flooring.
Basically, yep.
Awesome, yeah. I think that'll look really nice in here. Cool.
Are you feeling like you want to take the drawers out?
Nah, because it's just right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
We should have brought movers, sliders. This is heavy. All right, made it here. Just gotta get everything loaded. I was right, it is Thomasville. It's very heavy and well made. Look at me doing the ratchet straps. Those aren't even in my hardest thing that we literally can never figure out, but I figured it out. We got everything loaded in the back of the truck, and then one nightstand had to go in the inside. But super exciting. We got it all loaded. Let's head back to the shop. We're back at the shop, so we're not gonna waste any time. I am gonna get started on this 4-piece makeover. As always, I like to start by removing all of the hardware, and in this case, we're not gonna be putting the same hardware back on. We want a little bit more of a simplistic look with the new hardware, and I feel like this is super busy. So I've ordered some on Amazon that'll come, and we'll be able to reinstall that once the whole set is finished off. We got a jar full of the old hardware, and actually our neighbor Tony over at Thrifties, which if you're local, you should definitely go check them out. Shout outs to Thrifties. He told me that he's always looking for like spare hardware to sell, but also he sometimes gets furniture that doesn't have hardware on it, and so he likes to put it on it in order to like jazz it up a little bit and like make it functional. So this will be going to Tony at Thrifties. It's time to clean everything up. This is actually in relatively like clean condition already, but I personally like to start with a clean slate. So I clean before I do anything like sanding or putting a different finish on or whatever we're gonna do for the project. So I've got Lily Moon Furniture Prep. This doesn't require me to rinse anything off, so once I spray this on and wipe it back and kind of give it a good scrub, then we'll be good to go to move on to the next step. All right, that does it for cleaning. All right, I was just kidding about the cleaning being finished because I'm gonna clean the insides of the pieces. A lot of the times, you know, dust gets stuck back in there, and so since I'm here and I'm gonna have everything taken apart, I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything. I'm also gonna be labeling the drawers so that they can go back right where they came from because they all slide really well, really nicely. So I wanna put them back exactly where they are sitting right now. But my first order of business is going to be to take out all the drawers and then vacuum the inside here. And then we'll probably also do like a quick wipe down with some of the furniture prep cleaner. Now that cleaning is for real done, it's time to move on to the sanding portion. So the sanding portion for this project is going to be just a little bit different than usual because what we're doing is actually just changing the tone of the wood that is on the furniture currently. So since it's such a light finish and we're going a little bit lighter, but it's kind of gonna be more of like a white oak instead of these yellow undertones. They sent me, or they gave me a sample of their flooring that they want it to basically match. And so what my plan is on most of the areas, I'm just gonna do a scuff sand and then we're gonna do a paint wash that is hopefully going to change it to this color. And then on the areas that need a little bit more love, especially the top of this piece and the top of the tall dresser, those are probably gonna have to be completely stripped back, and then I'll do a paint wash on those as well. So this is like my first time doing a paint wash over the top of a finish that's existing, but because this is such a light finish and we're just changing the tone, I think that it will work. So we're gonna test it out. If it were like a dark, you know, something like the ones behind me, this obviously wouldn't work and it'd have to be completely stripped. But because it's lighter, my idea should work. I did do a test area and it looked really good. So crossing our fingers for me, because if not, there's gonna be a lot of sanding to do. I'm gonna start out with this top here because it basically just needs to be completely stripped back. There is a lot of failing areas, and then there's a few like rings from water cups and things like that. So let's sand the top of this and then we'll go from there. All right, the sanding portion of this project is done. So we're gonna get all that dust cleaned up and move on to the paint wash. All right, so remember, we're going for this white oak look, same as their floors. So I've got what I think is the perfect color, and it's called Algonquin from Fusion Mineral Paint. I've used this just one other time, and I really like the way that it just goes on, and I feel like it's that color that just is really in right now, and that is going to create that white oak look on this furniture set. So I'm going to dilute it a little bit. We're going to create a paint wash. I'm not going to dilute it too much to where it's too watery, but because I still want it to be, you know, a pretty opaque color, and especially where I didn't sand all the way through the finish, it's gonna still need a little bit more paint in order to cover up the yellowness. But for the top specifically, again, I sanded down the entire finish, so there's no like top coat or glossy finish on it. It is just the veneer. So This will take just a little bit of paint with some water, and then I'll kind of maneuver the ratio as I go from piece to piece. Okay, so we'll start with some water or some paint here, and then we'll go in with a little bit of water. So that is a pretty close match. Once the Algonquin paint wash dries, I'll hold this up again because it might change color a little bit, lighten up when it dries, but I'll decide if I need to do another coat. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and go around, because if you look on the edge, I did the paint wash on the edge, and I did not wipe it back around the edges because that is where the finish is still on there. I just scuff sanded it a little bit, and so I'm decided that I'm not gonna wipe back the areas that have the finish on them still, but on the areas that don't have the finish on them still, I'll wipe it back just so that you can still see that wood grain. So let's move on to the sides. So I've sort of learned my lesson in the past few weeks of doing something that I don't know how it's going to turn out, only on a small area, and then letting it dry and seeing if I like it before I move on to the rest of the pieces. So I'm going to let my big dresser dry over there to make sure that I like what the look is looking like before I continue on the rest of the pieces. But in the meantime, I am going to be bleaching the fronts of these drawers because we've got some hardware ghosting, and that basically means that there is kind of like tan lines for furniture where the hardware has been. There is lines or around where the hardware was, it kind of got bleached, and so you can see the marks. And since we're changing out the hardware, that's not going to work. We're not painting, we're doing like a paint wash or like a wood finish. So these markings would definitely show through the paint wash, and we can't have that. So I am going to use some wood bleach, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the A solution on first, and then I let that sit for about 5 minutes, and I hope I have enough for all of these, but I let that sit for about 5 minutes, and then we'll go back and put the B on, and then it'll have a reaction. We'll need to let it sit overnight, and I'm hoping that it'll kind of just cancel out the ghosting marks. Now it is time for solution B, and you want solution A to still be a little bit wet when you put solution B on. So this is the time. Back for day 2 of this project, and the bleach has done its job. There's like a faint ghosting in some of the areas, but on most of them, it honestly like eliminated it. And this is even before I sanded off the bleached areas. So I'm hoping that between the sanding and then the additional paint wash, that will be golden on the ghosting of the hardware. But instead of going straight to the drawers, I want to tackle this dresser. So I had told you guys that I was kind of waiting for it all to dry to make sure that I liked it before I kind of moved on and started to do the taller piece in the drawers. So I like it, except for the front portion, which is a lot of the smaller intricate details. It just kind of went on a little bit funky in some of the areas. Some of them are like darker than others, and I think I just was maybe going a little bit too fast. The sides look really good, so I'm gonna leave the sides as is, and then I'm just gonna sand back that paint wash, kind of do it again, just kind of taking my time a little bit more. I want this to look really good, so I'm gonna sand with the 120 grit and go from there. I got it. It's consistent. So what I did is I just basically sanded off a majority of the paint wash that I had put on there, and then we put it up here on top of this table so that it can kind of lay flat, and then the paint wash wouldn't drip off, even though I was like, I wasn't wiping it back. So sometimes, since it's so runny, the paint wash wanted to kind of drip, and the darker colors of the specific paint, you know, paints are made of different colors. Well, the darker dyes were like streaming to the bottom of the drips. And I think that's really why we ended up with such a splotchy, inconsistent look when it was dry. So I'm glad that Neiman had the idea to put this up here, and that it's way more consistent now. So we're gonna let that dry, and I am going to begin working on the tall guy here. I do like to do the sides up and down like this, but then we'll also flip this one and put it on the table. If you guys don't have a table yet that is like a work table, it's probably one of the best investments that we've had, and it took us like 3 years to get one. We should have gotten one way sooner, but this one's just from Home Depot. It was like maybe $350, and it has some drawers, wheels. You can lock the wheels, you can roll it to go up and down, so it's definitely a necessity in the workshop if you're going to be doing this for, you know, these different projects. I love also putting nightstands up there and working on them instead of bending over. So many great versatile ways of using it. We're on the home stretch of this project. Not that it's really taken me that long in general, because I saved a lot of time without having to sand the finish all the way to raw wood. I'm so glad that my method worked. I tried it and it worked. Sometimes it might not work, so you might have to sand it all down, but this time it worked, so it saved me a lot of time. But we're on the home stretch, and all I have left is the top coat and to add on the new hardware. So my go-to top coat is the Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat, because I just trust the finish and I trust the durability. It's kind of like a between satin and matte in my opinion. It's not too shiny, but it's still gonna give you that protection and just a little bit of sheen that the matte won't have. So I am gonna strain it through my sprayer. Now, I didn't spray any other portions of the pieces, but my opinion is that the best way to apply a top coat is through the sprayer. Whether you brush on all of the paint, I feel like just spraying the top coat is going to give you the best, most consistent and durable finish, and it's going to really help eliminate like any cloudiness or streakiness that may come from using a brush or even a sponge sometimes. So I'm just going to give this a good shake and strain it into my container here. I'm using the fine detail nozzle of the Wagner Flexio 5000, and this is interchangeable, so I have several of them, which is really nice because I'm able to kind of keep them separated if I want to keep one just for using top coats. If I like to keep one for like darker paints and then one for lighter paints as well, so that just in case there's any leftover substances inside of the sprayer after cleaning, that won't come out onto my brand new finished pieces. And the fine detail nozzles and the sprayers will be linked down below in the description. I feel like it's a great beginner sprayer. Wagner Flexio 5000, also the Wagner 3500 is a great one as well to get you started. All right, I'm gonna spray my top coat here to test it, and then we'll go ahead and spray this. I got all the drawers inside, and I'm gonna spray the top coat like this because then I won't get any top coat on the inside. Nervous for a second when this top coat was going on that it was like super green. I don't know why, but laying this on here, like, it would be really, really, really hard to get anything closer. Like, you have no idea how happy I am, because when a client gives me a specific color and a specific look that they're going for, and it's not just a paint color, it's not necessarily up my comfortability alley, but I just decided that I was gonna take it on and bring you guys along for the ride. I had this idea from the start after I saw the furniture and then I saw what look they wanted to do. And so again, like I've been saying, I'm so glad that my idea panned out, and I think that the black hardware, hint, hint, that I am going to be putting on this is going to just do it the justice that it deserves. It's crazy how much the hardware choice makes a difference in the furniture that you flip, and how updated it creates an more updated look. So once this top coat is dry, I'll probably do a second one, and then we'll move on to attaching the new hardware.
Please go in the comments and let her know how much of a beast she is, because she doesn't give herself enough credit. But this right there, that right there, the proof is in the pudding.
All right, so you're getting some brief sneak peeks of the finished products of these, but we're not gonna do a final reveal until we deliver them to the house, which means we need to go ahead and wrap them up to make sure that they get from here to there very safely. And I typically like to use a combination of moving blankets and then this furniture, well, I call it furniture wrap, but it's like a big thing, a big roll of like saran wrap. And this is really going to help secure the blanket on there, but then also help so that the drawers don't fly out during moving, et cetera, et cetera. I think that it's really, 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 really important to take this extra step and wrap it up really nicely so that your hard work does not go down the drain during the moving process, because everything is done. It would really be horrible if something happened to them now. And plus it shows your client, if you're delivering them to, I mean, you're going to be delivering it to someone. It shows them that you're taking that extra step of precaution and you know what you're doing. So I'll link this down below. It's the favorite that I've found so far on Amazon. And then it has these handles that turn with you, but then also once you have this contraption, you can just get the replacement wrap to switch it out with the handles as well. All right, it is delivery day for this set. So you've got the 4 pieces, the tall guy, the long guy, and the 2 nightstands here. We already know from experience with this set that it's super heavy. So the plan is so that it all fits, potentially to put it in the truck bed. And then once we get there, we're gonna like unload it and then unwrap it and then maybe take the drawers out so that we can safely and easily put it into the spots where it belongs without scratching up floors or doing any damage to the actual pieces. And then we'll put the drawers back in. We think that that's like the smartest way to not hurt ourselves and to, again, not ruin anything as far as the dressers or like their floors go. So we're gonna get this loaded up. I think one of them is gonna have to go in the back of the truck in the cab portion, and then the other 3 pieces will fit perfectly in the back bed of the truck, and then we'll get them strapped down and head on our way. Oh, Jesus.
She loves it.
Hi. Look at you.
She loves it.
This dog is so cute. Dog Beto. No more yellow furniture. It looks so good. And the flooring is like right there. So it's like not in the room, it's right there. And like doing this, it looks so good. We got the big dresser and the 2 nightstands. Let's do it. All right, let's go over the numbers of this Thomasville set. So we got these pieces for just $0 because we got the pieces from the clients. They already had the furniture and they just wanted it to be transformed. So that really helps out in the profit section of this set. The paint was just $20 because I actually used a can of paint that I had already had on hand that I had used previously, but the original cost was $20. I'm actually giving it a full $20 even though I did not use even half of it. And I'll still have a whole nother project, so that'll be 3 projects out of 1 can of paint. The top coat, $35. I sprayed the top coat on all 4 pieces. And then the hardware was the most significant price, which was $65 for the all new hardware. And then the miscellaneous costs of, the sandpaper, the cleaning materials, things like that, ended up being $15. So we're in for a total at $135 invested, and I charged them $2,000 total, which included the delivery and the pickup originally. And so that gives us a total profit, before you talk about gas prices and things like that, of $1,865. All right, that concludes this project. I'm so thrilled with the way that it turned out. It couldn't have been a better match to these floors, and the marble on the tops of those nightstands. Great decision by the owner and our clients. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again next Thursday with another furniture flip, and I'll see you on the flip side.